Well, hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. We will be back with a video this evening with Brownie. Make sure you're up and about to check that out, everybody. We're going to be speaking about this weekend and the situation with Leeds United. So I'll see you there. But before we get into all of that a little bit later on today, I wanted to speak about one of my favorite players at this moment in time, Joseph Rodon. Now, we've just done an article on oneleeds.com. If you guys aren't aware, we do have a website of which you can go on. You can get tactical analysis, player analysis, all this sort of stuff. And I've just sort of compartmentalized an article this morning on Joe Rodon. So that's free for you guys to go and check out. I'll leave a link in the description below. But basically, I'm glazing Joe Rodon. Now, the reason I wanted to speak about Joe was because last season there was parts of his game of which I wasn't sure on, to be quite honest with you. I thought his distribution from the back, I thought some of his aerial numbers, even his ground duels, which is reflected in statistical analysis and pieces from last season in comparison to this season, were way below than what he's presenting this season. Joe, for me, has gone to a different level this season. And I think it's really key to note this. I think it's really key to speak about this as well. I've got a shoot next week with a certain company of which I have to do a certain level of combined 11s, which will be out on socials. And listen, Joe Rodon is going in every single one for me. And he's been quintessentially, for me, one of Leeds' best players this season. And he gets overlooked, obviously, because it's not the flowers of the attacking players, but I think it's really key that we focus on that today. Now, just look at his defensive metrics here this year compared to last year. This is on the article that we've done online, everybody. Per 90 minutes, tackles 1 per 90 minutes this season, 0.82 to 0.65. Interceptions 6.7 to 0.50. Clearances 3.31 to 2.80. Aerial duels, he's up. And yellow cards even, which I found quite an interesting statistic as well. He's up on last season as well. So there is interesting parts of the Joe Rodon discussion because there's multiple facets of it. When you're looking at the eye test right now, I look at Joe Rodon and I think 100% he's improved, but the data is also backing this up. It's also backing up how he's gone to that different level right now, which is really, really nice to see. So we've summarized a little bit as well how we can look at this and how we can sort of make a little bit of a summary when we're looking at the enhancements on his game. His better positioning and timing, obviously leading to more interceptions we've got here. His greater involvement in clearances, which for me you're seeing with Joe consistently right now. He's always, like last season, don't get me wrong, he was getting his head on everything, but I think there's now a culmination of when he's clearing the ball, it's not all just about Joe getting his head on it. It's about Joe getting the ball down, getting it on his chest, then moving it out to the right-hand side, which primarily he builds up on. So, yeah, I think that's a key thing to know. It's not all just about Joe getting his head on it. It's clearing it in the right way. It's clearing it with a little bit of intelligence, football IQ, getting the ball down on his chest, actually getting the ball in really tricky areas where oppositions, especially what Sheffield United were doing, and Sunderland in some phases, is getting the ball down and clearing it, but not just the old hoof header, the old hoof on the foot. It's getting the ball down and playing, which Joe's doing much better this season. Greater involvement in clearances, which is obviously showing that greater authority in the penalty box. This is what we were saying as well when it came to, last season, when it came to Joe. And I think there was maybe a little bit of nervousness. Obviously, he'd played in that Tottenham Hotspur setup. He played in the Swansea setup previously to that. Not got as much of a chance under Ange Postecoglou. But you could tell in that Swansea setup in particular, Joe is extremely good at building out from the back. But I felt there was a bit of nervousness to his play last season. I don't know if you guys felt like that a little bit, but there was a bit of nervousness. I feel that's been completely ironed out, which is why, in my opinion, there's an argument he's been better than Strout this season, and there's an argument he is being the best centre-back in the division this season. Special mentions to Tanganga, special mentions to Esteve as well. But for me, Joe Rodon has just been unequivocally one of the best this season. Let me know in the comment section below if you think he has been actually the best. So obviously more mastery in aerial duels, which is what the data shows, enhances his value during set pieces as well. I guess the only criticism I would bring to this when it comes to Rodon is, unfortunately, he's still not getting goals. And you're seeing in clutch moments, even when Pascal's been out for a majority phases this season, Pascal is still able to show up in these clutch moments. Obviously, we know he's been a penalty taker when you've had the likes of Peru off the pitch, which means there's a higher reliability and a higher sort of trust in Pascal in terms of his composure in front of goal. But even the clutch moments against the likes of Sheffield United, Sunderland, Pascal turns up for big moments. That's the only deficiency I see with Joe right now. I think he's developed in so many defensive phases of his game. I think his build-up's got so much better. His interpretation and perception of where the ball is going to land, which is obviously backed up by that quantitative data as well, has got significantly better. For me, the only thing that Joe drastically needs to improve, and one thing I would criticize him for, is interpretation and perception in the opposition box. Because as a 6'3", 6'4" man, he has to be getting on the end of more, and he has to be doing more in the opposition box and turning up in clutch moments like Pascal does. But there is a balance between them in the offensive areas. Pascal does this, but Joe also does this very consistently in the sort of defensive area as well. As I said, more mastery in aerial duels, few yellow cards, which has been great when it comes to discipline and decision making. I've just got here as well Rodon's sort of ability to understand the dynamics of the match and position himself accordingly has helped him become an increasingly reliable and consistent defensive option for Leeds. And I think that's key. And guys, if you want to go and have a look at this, it is available on oneleeds.com as well. But yeah, look, I just think we have to give him his flowers, and we're getting towards the back end of the season right now. And I'm looking at combined 11s between like Sheffield United, Burnley, etc. as well. And I don't actually know, aside from Ilan Mele, who's probably been the outlier, because I think we'd genuinely be on probably goals against maybe two more or three more than Burnley if Ilan Mele, with the greatest of respect, hadn't chucked a few in this season, even though he's got better for Leeds, we have to say that. But that is just giving credit to the likes of Joe, the likes of Pascal, the likes of Junior and Jaden for their defensive performance this season, because they've been so good. And if you were to give me an option right now, oh, well, Burnley's defense is this good, but I look at Connor Roberts, I look at Bashir Humphreys, I look at Esteve, and I look at CJ Egan Riley. I'm not sure I'd replace. If I was pressured, I might go Esteve for Pascal just on availability this season. I'm not sure I'd take any of the rest of them over our defense, and that speaks volumes to me. And also that last season, it maybe would have been like an Egan Riley in for Joe Rodon. But Joe Rodon for me has been that good this season. He doesn't even come out, and he's been that good this season as well. There is an argument that Joe has been better than Pascal. And the beautiful thing about him as well is he's always available. Touch wood, this continues, but this man was always available last season. He's always available this season, even though he looks like he's playing on his last legs. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to give him his flowers a little bit, because we don't talk about Joe Rodon enough. The absolute warhorse that he is. I'm so sort of like happy for him that he's got to this next level as well, which was needed, and he's developed, and credit to Farker and his staff as well. But yeah, amazing. Let me know what you guys think on Joe Rodon in the comment section below, everybody. We're going to be back with Brownie talking about this weekend's game and this weekend's fixtures very, very soon. That'll be out this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure, everybody. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Check out the article. I'll leave that in the description below. Patreon, bonus episodes on there right now. Do that for me, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'll see you in a bit. And watch along, and everything is coming tomorrow. See you then.